Greetings, friends. Today, I'm going to tell you about Klaus, an engineer from Munich. He is the embodiment of European pragmatism. He considers his car, a Volkswagen Golf, to be the pinnacle of engineering, compact, efficient, and perfect for the narrow streets of old Bavaria and the fast-paced autobahns. And so this man, confident in the superiority of the European approach, flies into Denver, Colorado. At the rental car agency, expecting a standard sedan, he watches in bewilderment as they bring him a monster, a gigantic, chrome-covered Ford F-150. At that moment, for Klaus, it's not just a trip across America that begins. It's a harsh collision of two worlds, two automotive philosophies. This story isn't about steel and horsepower. It's about how a piece of American steel can completely shatter your ideas of freedom and personal space. So, buckle up, because the conclusions this German engineer comes to will definitely surprise you. To understand Klaus's shock, you have to understand the world he came from. A world where a car is, first and foremost, a rational solution to a transportation problem. In Europe, everything screams compactness. The narrow streets of Rome, where two Fiat 500s can barely squeeze past each other. The confusing parking garages in central Paris, where every inch counts. The price of gas, which makes your heart sink every time you see a filling station. And, of course, the taxes, which are directly proportional to engine size and emissions. In this world, a Volkswagen Golf or a Peugeot 308 isn't just a choice, it's the only correct answer. They are fast, agile, economical, and won't give you a nervous breakdown when you're looking for a parking spot. In this context, an American pickup truck seems absurd, a grotesque relic from the era of cheap oil. For Klaus, it was a symbol of irrationality, kitsch, and a senseless waste of resources. He was sure that Americans simply didn't understand cars. He couldn't have been more wrong. Klaus stood in the Denver airport parking lot, staring at the F-150. This wasn't a car. It was an architectural object. It was so tall that you didn't just get into the cabin. You had to climb up, using a special running board. It was so wide that it took up the entire parking space, from line to line, leaving no room for error. Klaus opened the door, which was as heavy as a bank vault's, and found himself inside. And again, shock. This wasn't a cabin. It was a mobile office, a living room on wheels. The distance to the passenger seat was so great you could have put a suitcase between them. The center armrest was the size of a table in a small European cafe. There were dozens of cup holders, nooks, and compartments. He started the engine, and instead of the familiar hum of a German turbo engine, he heard the low, guttural rumble of a multi-liter V8. The first few feet across the parking lot were torture. He felt like the captain of a cargo ship trying to dock in a yacht marina. It seemed clumsy, excessive, and utterly impractical. But then he pulled out onto the wide, river-like I-70 highway, heading west toward the Rocky Mountains. And that's when something strange began to happen. The initial fear gave way to confidence. The high seating position, which he had initially despised, gave him a complete, almost royal, view of the road. He was looking down on other cars, not at them from the side. The massive hood in front of him created an indescribable feeling of security. Minor road imperfections that would have made his Golf shudder nervously were simply ignored by the pickup, which floated over the asphalt with the poise of a cruiser. Other drivers kept their distance. No one tried to cut him off. He was no longer just a participant in traffic. He had become a dominant force, a monolith around which the rest of the flow organized itself. Klaus suddenly realized that the constant feeling of tension he experienced on the Autobahn in Germany was completely gone here, in this steel giant. It was replaced by absolute calm. The final epiphany came a few days later. Caught up in the idea of a real American vacation, Klaus stopped at an outdoor gear store in the town of Boulder. And spontaneously, on a sudden impulse, he bought 2 kayaks and a small barbecue grill. In his life in Munich, such a purchase would have turned into a complex logistical operation. He would have had to arrange for delivery, wait, and coordinate a time. What did Klaus do? He simply walked over to his F-150, dropped the tailgate, and tossed both kayaks and the grill into the massive bed without any problem. No roof racks, no straps, no complications. In that moment, he understood everything. The Ford F-150 is not just a means of transportation. It is a tool for enabling possibilities. It is the answer yes to any sudden impulse. Want to move a couch? Yes. Want to bring home building materials for a new deck? Yes. Want to go to the mountains with tents, bikes, and all your gear? Just throw it in the back. This vehicle wasn't designed just to carry one person from point A to point B. It was built so that its owner would never face a point B that they couldn't reach with any cargo. When Klaus returned the pickup to the Denver airport, he looked at it with completely different eyes. He understood the fundamental difference. A European hatchback is a brilliant tool for existing in a world of limitations. It's designed for narrow streets, expensive gas, and small parking spaces. It helps you survive in cramped conditions. An American pickup truck is a tool for a world where there are no limitations. It is the physical embodiment of the idea that you can go anywhere and do anything. It's not about efficiency. It's about freedom. It's not about fitting into existing constraints. It's about not even noticing those constraints exist. Klaus, the engineer and pragmatist, realized that Americans hadn't just built a big vehicle. They had created a machine that reminds you every single day that you live in a land of limitless possibilities. So what's better? The economical elegance of a European hatchback or the uncompromising power of an American pickup? Is a big vehicle a symbol of excess or a symbol of true freedom? Share your opinion in the comments. We'd be incredibly interested to discuss it. And of course, subscribe to the channel, give us a like, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our next dive into the surprising American reality.